So today, we are privileged to have in our midst as our speaker, a gentleman I respect, Rogers Odima, who is a quality management and ISO expert. He's a distinguished specialist in business processes design and review, quality management, and leadership studies. He has valuable technical experience in ISO 9000, total quality management, market research, and market studies. He has worked on organizational development, institutional strengthening, feasibility studies, economic and planning studies, and project evaluation. Rogers is a certified trainer by IFC World Bank on leadership and management skills. He is an associate leader, lead tutor, and lead auditor with SGS, the world's largest standard certification organization. He has taught strategic management at Kabarak University. Rogers is trained as senior executives in leadership and management in Seychelles, Uganda, Tanzania, Zimbabwe, Namibia, and Kenya. He trained in the world famous Joran Institute in US, by Dr. Joseph Joran. He's a founder, board member, and a trustee of Professional Trainers Association in Kenya. Get that? Beautiful. Rogers has extensive consultancy experience, having trained and consulted for a wide variety of leading institutions and organizations. He has been involved in major job evaluation assignments for large public and private sector organizations. He has significant experience in the use of computer application packages and data analysis and financial modeling. Rogers is a director with change management for Peace International. He is also a founding director of Continuous Improvement Management Limited. He has also worked as the industry economist in the FKE UNIDO TOM project for 3.5 years. Prior to this, he worked for various organizations, including government ministry. And so we are happy to have him. He holds a BA in economics from University of Nairobi, a master's in business administration, in management from University of Leeds, UK. He's a member of the Kenya Institute of Management and American Society of Quality. He is a PhD candidate studying at Kenya Methodist University. Where else can you get such people except Tom? So, welcome our speaker, our mentor, Rogers, and we are ready to learn some tips from you that our retirement may be a bliss.
Thank you. Yes, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you, John Paul, for this invitation. Yes, for these Power Mondays, I think I'll be joining more even when I'm not a speaker. Thank you for this good initiative that you're actually bringing to create awareness. But I want to start by I like the title, of course, retiring happy, proven strategies for retiring happy. But I want to start with Nancy. I just want to remind Nancy, she should not fear. Actually, you know the way they say that the older the wine is, the sweeter it becomes. Nancy, the joy of a grandmother, a grandfather holding a grandson or a granddaughter, you can't even fathom, you can't even, quantify. And by that, I'm in such a position. When I'm playing with my grandchild, grandson, when we go cycling in Karura, I can't even explain the joy. So Nancy, relax. Don't fear.
Wonderful.
It will only get better and better, like wine, like old wine. So I want to speak about 4 areas of proven strategies for retiring happy. Although, by the way, some of them I'm definitely going to detail. We've met with John Paul in a program of what we call RBA, Retirement Benefit Authority. And in that program, Retirement Benefit Authority have discovered 4 areas. If you're going to retire happy, you need to prepare yourself in 4 areas. The first area is definitely the issue of attitude. Actually, what Nancy was trying to address in her poem. You need to address, first of all, yourself, prepare yourself in terms of attitude. You'll actually retire happy. And I'll spend more time today in that area of attitude. The second one, of course, you need to prepare yourself in terms of investment. Investment, very, very important. Investment and what I would call financial stewardship. The third area, of course, you need to prepare yourself is health, just your health. In one of those sessions in the Retirement Benefit Authority, we have been showing 2 videos. One video is a Shosho in Kenya here, who is 87, but she still runs a car repair, a radio repair, outfit, and she's still very fit. Then there's also another one of somebody about 90 who still runs marathon, of course slow, but he still runs marathon. So the issue about preparing yourself in terms of mental health, physical health, that is also a proven strategy for success. Finally, is the area of the legal aspects of retirement. We normally call it estate planning. It's also very, very important for you to prepare yourself in terms of estate planning. So that, of course, unfortunately, of course, in Kenya here, when some people die, there's so much legal wars and wrangles among family members. So if you can prepare yourself in those 4 areas, number 1, prepare your attitude that it is okay to grow old, Nancy. Then number 2, prepare yourself in terms of investment and financial stewardship. Number 3, prepare yourself in terms of health, both mental health, physical health, and even spiritual health. And then number 4, prepare yourself in terms of legal aspects, or sometimes it's called estate planning. So if you can actually prepare yourself in those 4 areas, you'll really have what I call, you'll retire happy. So like I said, I want to focus on the area of retiring happy by preparing yourself in this issue of attitude. Now, let me say about attitude. Attitude is just the sum total of your experience in life. And what does that form? What is the input to that sum total of your experiences? Number 1 is your mindset. And what is mindset? The other day, just last week, I was training somewhere in Naivasha, and I was telling people, and of course, these ladies, forgive me, it can be scary, but suppose you are in a room and a big python passes by. So maybe there is one hole the other side and another hole, of course, a big hole for a python to pass. Now, when it passes that room, some people see it and others don't see it. Whom do you think will be most scared? Are they the people who have seen it or not seen it? Maybe somebody can unmute and tell me. A python passes through a room which all of you are, and then some people have seen it and others have not seen it. Who will be most scared?
Yeah, we can put our the chats, our answers in the chat.
Put in the chat, yeah.
Read them. Yes, I read them.
Yeah, that is fine.
Who will be more scared? I personally think the people who've seen it. Yes, Susan Sewe also says the people who've seen it. Yeah. Others, yeah. Yes. Those who did not see it. Those who did not see it. Somebody feel like it's those who did not see it. Eda says those who didn't see it. Yeah. So people are divided here.
Okay. Now, okay, there are 2 things. I agree. Number 1, the people who saw it, I want to imagine they'll be more scared. But also, number 2, experiences in life is not just what you have seen, but what you have had. So suppose you didn't see, but these other guys tell you a python passed by. So you'll also again become very scared. So again, that's what I'm saying. The sum total, an attitude in life is formed by your mindset. And your mindset is a function of what you see and what you hear. For example, if you just hear bad news about retirement, obviously it will form your attitude. But if you also hear good news about retirement, like in fact, this is what John Paul is trying to give us, this opportunity so that we hear good news about retirement. So that's really the first thing about your attitude. What is your attitude? What is your attitude to growing old? What is your attitude to retirement? So the first thing is really mindset. Now, I was talking to some mama from Kitui, and she told me in Kitui, because there are too many snakes, even girls and women, when they grow up, they know how to kill snakes. But ask somebody from Kiambu or other places whether they know a lady how to kill snakes, and you may find that experience is not there. So what am I saying? Apart from your mindset, the next thing is capacity. Capacity. For example, for some people, if that python passes by, they know how to kill it, and they'll kill it. So there's no problem. They have the capacity. But the more you don't have capacity, the more you'll be scared. So I want to suggest that attitude, like I've said, number one is a function of your mindset, but number two is a function then of your capacity, Now, this capacity is very, very interesting. You can have that capacity when you put it to use. That's what I call initiative. You put that capacity to use. That is what I call initiative. So you can see an attitude consists of three things. Number one, your mindset. Number two, your capacity. And then number three, your initiative. What initiatives are you taking? For example, the whole purpose of this session, and I want to encourage everybody who is in this Zoom call, is please, like I started earlier, if you can prepare yourself, develop capacity. If you can develop capacity in terms of your attitude, develop your capacity in terms of your investment and financial stewardship, develop your capacity in terms of your health, develop your capacity in terms of estate planning, then I can assure you, you are not going to be scared. You are not going to be scared. So please, this issue of capacity is very, very important. But once you have developed capacity, don't just stay with capacity. Take an initiative. Take positive initiatives. Now, once you take positive initiatives, you have two things. Number one, you can either succeed or even fail. I like a book, and for those of you who like reading, I want to recommend a book by John Maxwell. It is called Failing Forward. Failing Forward. It just says that failure is the halfway point to success. So some of you may have said, and by the way, it doesn't matter. In fact, by the way, I'm over 60, and I normally tell people that it's never too late to do the right thing. So even at whatever age you are, maybe you have not started in those 4 areas. You have not started preparing yourself in terms of your attitude. You have not started preparing yourself in terms of investment and financial stewardship. You are preparing yourself in terms of your health. You have not started preparing yourself in terms of estate planning. Please, don't feel scared. It's never too late to start. Please start today. Start today, and you will do well. So once you take initiative, like I said, the whole issue is, will that initiative be successful or not? Now, of course, people say success encourages more success. So you start small. Start with the small successes. Maybe start with okay, like I said, I'll more concentrate. Let me finish the other 3 because I'm not quite an expert in the other 3 areas. But let me just encourage you. Start small in terms of financial investment. Start. And there are many people by there. I'm sure both John Paul and myself, if you get in touch with us, we can refer you to people who are really very good investment advisors in that area. Even health. Start small, even in terms of your health. They say prevention is better than cure. Start small. And estate planning. One of the things I've liked as I've attended this Retirement Benefits Authority, they actually say writing a will is not a very complicated thing. It can actually just be a blank paper, but you have 2 witnesses who are over 18. That's all. So it's not as if it is a very complicated thing. And by the way, even if you just have your laptop alone, you can say, when I go, I donate this laptop to John Paul. Yeah. So, so don't say you have nothing. Don't say you have nothing. Just you know. So those are, so like I said, those three areas. If you want for more advice, we can always refer to the right medical people, to the right lawyers, and of course to the right financial investors and advisors. We can always refer you to those areas. So let me stick to an area that I really am passionate about. Where am I passionate about? By the way, I'm a trainer. You heard when John Paul was introducing me. I'm not only just a trainer, but I'm the founding board member of Professional Trainers Association of Kenya, but I'm also the current chairman of the trustee board of Professional Trainers Association of Kenya. I get so excited about training. Even today, when I hear there's going to be a training in Mandera at midnight, I will go. So this is something, and maybe that's also one of the things I want to encourage Nancy. Nancy, of course, I'm not hitting at you. I'm just encouraging you that an attitude, the best attitude is getting initiative that you are passionate about. Initiatives that you are passionate about, and they start now. They start now. Unfortunately, there are statistics that show that 80% of people studied the wrong degrees, studied the wrong courses, and even are in the wrong jobs. You know, imagine you are retiring, you have been in a job 20, 30, 40 years, then you only to discover that you are in the wrong job. Yeah, like a friend of mine was saying, it's like you climb a ladder only to discover you climbed the wrong wall. So now, unfortunately, if you have been climbing the wrong wall or you're in the wrong job, then obviously you're not going to be passionate about what you do. In Israel, there is a community called kibbutz. In kibbutz, there is actually no retirement. You only lighten your work. Because if you have passion, what they do, they give you an opportunity to exploit your passion. So your passion. So please, in terms of attitude, I want to encourage people, please start exploiting your passion. I know there is always a very delicate balance because, like I said, 80% of us are in the wrong jobs. We are in the wrong jobs because we just want survival. And I want to talk about the 5S of incomes, that 5S of incomes, which also in a way trap us to continue with the wrong jobs, wrong careers, wrong what, and so forth. The first S is what I call suffering. When you have more debts than your salary, that is really suffering. And of course, when you have more debts than your salary, you are not even going to think about, whether you should be passionate about something or not. You are too busy, what I call firefighting. The second one, when you graduate a bit from suffering, you go to survival. Survival is now when you are able to get some income, but you are barely struggling. And now, when you get income, we say there are more days in the month than your salary. You are just struggling. That's why you find when it reaches around the 10th, 15th, you want to apply to the HR for an advance, something that will take you up to the end of the month. So, yeah, so that is the second level of what I call a financial, health. The third level, which is what I call stability, when you can be able now to balance your income or your salary and your expenses, then you can now start thinking, what else can I do? Then the fourth level is success, where now your income is more than at least your monthly operational expenses. Then you can save, and also you can be able to start investing. And once you start investing and saving, then you will be able now to live a happy and retired life. So that's really what I want to say. As you think about your career, as you think about your whatever, are you in a job that you are passionate about? Are you in a job that you are passionate about? So for me, that is very, very important. Being in a job that you are very passionate about, in a career, so that, let me give you my own example. There was a time I heard that being an accountant, you'll become very wealthy, very, very wealthy. So I decided to go to Strathmore and study accountancy. Unfortunately, accountancy is not my thing. Until today, I don't know that the debit is on the left and the credit is on the right. But when I discovered the training, I became very passionate about it. I became very passionate about it. So, but I struggle, and I used to pay for myself. Nobody used to pay for me, it is me. But I discovered accountancy is not my thing. And since I discovered the training, like last week only, I was training in Machakos, I was training in Naivasha. Over the weekend, I was training in Busia. Yeah. So it is my passion. It is my passion. And I really value that. So I think that's what I'll tell you. For you to retire happy, please discover your passion in terms of your attitude. Discover your passion. The second thing about attitude that I'd like you to, when you want to retire happy, value relationships. Again, it's John Maxwell, and I think many other people have seen, they talk about 80% of success in life. It's not your work, it's not your career. And I'm sure some of you have said, you have heard this famous statement. Today, if you dropped dead in your workplace, your colleagues will mourn you for a week, for 2 weeks. And that's all. Then they'll even re-advertise their job. Or even some of them will want your job even before you are buried. The only people who are going to miss you much are your family members. And of course, very close friends. So I want to suggest, please invest. When you invest in your relationships, I'm telling you, you'll enjoy a very happy and retired life. So I really want to encourage you. It is said some husbands take so much time in their jobs. By the time they are retiring, the wife has moved out. Has moved on. The children have moved on. So please don't be successful only to find that in your job and money, only to discover that your family and your children have moved on. So I really want you, an attitude of success is an attitude that builds relationships, that values relationships, what I call positive relational contacts. If you do that, I can assure you, the sky is not the limit for your life. Your life will continue growing sweeter and sweeter like old wine, like old wine. So please, you really invest in your relationship. Of course, the third thing I really want you to invest when it comes to, again, although this topic is basically covered also by medical doctors, but I also cover it under attitude, is stress management. Stress. What are some of these things that stress you? How are you coping with the stress? Remember, I talked about that attitude consists of 3 things. Number 1, mindset. Number 2, capacity. And number 3, initiative. What is your capacity for dealing with the stress? The good book, the Bible, in Luke 16:10 tells us, if you are faithful in little, you shall be faithful in much. If you know how to cope with the little stress, you'll be able to cope with much stress. So I also want to encourage you, don't be in denial about stress. Don't be in denial about stress. Please, and share. I like ladies. Ladies are always saying in my trainings that because you know how you have social support through chamas. I want to ask my friend John Paul, is he in any chama? You may find him and me are not in any chama. So, but chamas are very important for social support. So in terms of even stress management, so I really want to encourage that, please, you and me, let us learn to deal with stress, little stress. What is our coping capacity when it comes to things to do with stress? Yeah, that is very, very important. And then again, back to relationship is conflict resolution. Conflict resolution. How are you? In all these relationships are dynamic. How are you coping in terms of conflict resolution? And there are about 5 levels of conflict. The first level of conflict is surface relationship, surface conflict. For example, if I accidentally step on the toe of my friend John Paul, it's accidental. That is a surface conflict. But then if John Paul and me keep quiet about it, but we are angry, or rather him is angry, it graduates to what I call latent conflict. Now, if that latent conflict is not resolved, it graduates to verbal abuse. If verbal abuse is not resolved, it graduates to physical abuse. If physical abuse is not resolved, it now goes to what I call unresolved conflict. Again, learn to Deal with conflicts at the earliest stages. It's just like if you have the wrong medicine, you have a disease, but the doctor gives you the wrong medicine, the disease will be worse. So don't wait until any disease is worse. In terms of conflict, deal with it fast. So basically, that's what I want to say. John Paul, maybe people can ask me a question at this stage. I know there are many things I could say, but basically, I just want to say, please, you can retire happy. Very, very possible, retire happy. And again, those 4 areas, retire happy in terms of attitude, retire happy in terms of financial investment and stewardship, retire happy in terms of your health, retire happy, both mental and physical health, retire happy in terms of estate planning, the legal aspects of retirement, and you'll actually live a happy retirement life. Thank you. So, John.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much for that short and sweet presentation. I know some people here who know me as Paul Peter would be wondering where is this John Paul? But that is the way I'm called by people who knew me long time ago. When I was born and starting school, I would see all my books written John Paul, Tieno. And then along the way, I got confirmed Peter, and I dropped that John Paul in all official documents. So let's put our questions and reactions on chat. If you have some question you'd like to say verbally, then you can raise up your hand. Otherwise, there is the first question from Jackie that says, there are people who do not know how to survive outside their work lives. What leads to this? There are people who do not know how to survive outside their work lives.
Yes, yeah, that's a very good question. When you were born, we were taken through a conveyor belt. You just find yourself in nursery or kindergarten, then, of course, grade 1, you go to high school, you go to university. That's why you even find some people, they finish university, and they tell their parents, you can take the certificate. Now I want to do my DJ. So I agree. Then we go through work life, just like a conveyor belt. So I would really empathize with the person who has asked that question. Now, my encouragement would be, number 1, please, I would encourage you to find mentors. Find mentors whom you can talk about. If you find mentors whom you can talk with, so that you can actually, you can bounce to them. What are your giftings? What are your talents? What are your what? And once you start discovering your giftings and talents, then you can actually live outside the formal work, work environment. I'm not saying the formal work environment is bad, but that is very good. But what I'm saying, just in case, like he is asking, you find yourself outside the workplace. What talents, what giftings do you have? What passion do you have that can take you far? And let me tell you this, if you discover your talents and passion, then the sky is not the limit. That's what I want to say. So that's what I want to encourage you. Okay. Any question?
Yeah, I love that. I love that bit because that is something I love talking about. If you just do things because you're looking for money, then you will never live. Somebody says, John Maxwell, I think, says, never work a day. Never work a day. Simply means your work becomes your sport. You're doing something you love. Some of us, we can train all the time because that is our sport. Just like somebody will find excitement in music, somebody finds excitement in football, that becomes the lifestyle. So I think that is a very beautiful strategy. Start exploring what is it that you love, what is it that is in your heart, and great those talents, build onto them, and you will stay even younger. Yes, as time goes, you don't age as fast. Next, I see Eda asking where to invest, and This is a question that perhaps somebody else would be able to answer. It's a whole discussion. Even 2 hours, if we allocated 2 hours, would not be sufficient. I'm trying to check if we have Melvin here. Melvin, I can see you're here. You can unmute and maybe briefly you can comment on that. Yeah, Roger has also talked about those S's: the survival, suffering, survival, stability, success, and that. Somebody is asking where to invest. What did you say?
Hi, OPP.
Yes.
Well, you can start by investing in yourself, in upskilling yourself. The other thing you can do is you need to invest in a pension plan, an independent pension plan. You need to invest in securities. You could invest in government paper, which is bonds and treasury bills. So there are several investment avenues, including real estate. But one has to be very careful with real estate. You have to do your due diligence and make sure that you haven't bought some land on a riverbed in Athi River, for example, or a land which doesn't have, a piece of land which doesn't have the right documentation. But that's a whole topic, by the way, OPP. We can have one whole day to discuss that. Thank you so much.
I know, that's why I said maybe just to mention, like you just listed, because that is a long and wide topic, which is most times even emotional. Yeah, I love saying that topics to do with money sometimes are very, very emotional. Yeah, they get into your heart. So thank you very much. Melvin has told us there are government securities, the bonds, there is real estate, there is and the most important one is investing in yourself, which is the first and most important one. If you don't invest in yourself, then all the other investments don't count. And I love that Rogers talked about health, because like we say in Live Your Dream, you cannot live your dream, you cannot be happy if you are unhealthy. So you must invest in your health. You must invest in your health, mental health, physical health, and and uh, uh, spiritual health, all that. Great. There is a question. Thanks, Mr. Odima, for that presentation. How would you advise these young Gen Zs who really don't have a saving culture? They see like retirement is so far and have a YOLO. I think there is a way.
YOLO,
Like,
I know it. You only live once, YOLO.
oh yeah. Some even say, why save or invest if tomorrow I can be hit by a bus and that is the end of the story? So how would you advise such people?
By the way, according to a Retirement Benefit Authority study of how Kenyans spend their money, not just Gen Z, the majority of Kenyans, saving is the last priority. Number 8. Number 1 is rent or mortgage, where you lay your head. Number 2 is food. Number 3 is household bills. Number 4 is transport to and fro to work. Number 5 is offerings to church. So in fact, I normally joke with my fellow pastors, or rather with the pastors, when they are preaching pandas and begu, but the priority is number 5. Number 6 is clothing. Number 7 is entertainment. Number 8 is saving. So it's not just Gen Z, actually the majority of Kenyans. And did you know that only 3% of Kenyans have 100,000 shillings salary and above? Only 3% of Kenyans. And did you know that only 2% of Kenyans at any one time have a balance of 100,000 shillings in their bank account? Only 2%. This is according to central bank data. So it's not just Gen Z. It's actually this is one. Of course, one can argue Gen Z is also a question of lifestyle, but I would feel the general poverty situation in Kenya makes saving very difficult. Remember, like now when cost of living increases, all of us, the first thing we focus about is house, food, and household bills. Tokens, gas, water. So yeah, so basically, then not just to Gen Z, but I'll encourage all of us. If there is a way we can boost and that's why we're even talking about investments later, because you see, the more you increase your investment, the way I talked about the 5 levels, it's very hard for you to invest, or rather save for that matter, when you are at that suffering stage, when you are at the survival stage, when you are at the stability stage. It's very hard for you to save. So just like I've shown what Retirement Benefit Authority has said, the issue is not just Gen Z. Even here, if we did a random survey, if Paul Peter did a random survey for us who are in this, how many of you save regularly? It will be very interesting statistics. Okay, so thanks.
Yes, you are bringing it closer home. If we did a random survey, well, we can put in the chat if you are saving. That is a good survey. I am saving for retirement. I am preparing for retirement. To me, this is something very important. When I was just in my teens, I would meet old people who are working, and now they are not very well off. So they say, when I used to work, I helped so many people. I took CG who to school. I helped so and so get a job, and now nobody's helping me. To them, their retirement plan was in helping people so that they would be helped. Enough of us also invest in children. We want to educate children so that one day they come back to help us or to take care of us. Enough of us, we've had, we also invest in social capital. I see this a lot in the village. I'm helping so and so for example, burial. People contribute so that they will also contribute for you. You see, and to me, that doesn't sound very right. We need to be able to, when we are helping people, we are not helping them so that they can help us back. We should be able to have our own plan. And do you have a plan? You can say there. Now, there is a question from one, and she's saying, I'm afraid my spouse, I'm afraid of my spouse's retirement from civil service. He hasn't invested much because he doesn't like it. He believes I should take care, but he's such a guzzler. How do I deal with this fear? Now, dealing with fear is a difficult question. I don't know what you'd say, Rogers. I know we also have other more qualified people in counseling. Maybe they can attempt. I don't know, but
yes,
you can.
Yeah. In fact, I was going to recommend let even a counselor also attempt. But me, I would feel such a person needs actually both spiritual counseling and just general counseling. So please, but if there's a counselor here, let me also hear what one of the things I like about adult training. Just like you see when I started earlier, I said I'm not an expert in investment, I'm not an expert in medical, I'm not an expert in law. So I think that's the beauty about adult learning. We don't claim to be experts in every area, but once you know one area, then you actually then can really go ahead. Oh, I can see Eunice is there. Eunice can really help us. I can see Eunice is in the call.
Yes,
So Eunice, go ahead.
Yes. I was about to call you.
Just thanks, OPP.
Yeah.
I want to say that the person needs to, because this is not something that has started now. Okay? So as Rogers mentioned about the minds, the conflicts, so it looks like this is now graduating to where there's that the feeling of we are not resolving this thing and resolve conflicts that is piling up, and now time is coming of closer home to retirement that comes with now closer contact. You're waking up, you're doing things, everything, and this guy is most likely going to take over your management and all that. So this is a fear for the other one who feels the spouse is a gosler. If this person is a gosler, how much has the spouse invested in themselves and for their own personal use? And what capacity have they invested to be able to deal with and cope with and adjust with when now there are two and the other person is not going to work? He's going to be there nearly 24 hours. Then you look at, in terms of also looking at this relationship, how much is this person willing to go and talk about or look for help about the emotional pain when the other one is a gosler? And all these other parts of the relationship. So it's about this person looking at their fear, looking at their mindset, because if you have been pushed, there's this person that you expected to get, and you're actually feeling that you're getting a raw deal and things are coming closer home. So there's that fear that they need to get help. So I would encourage the person to get help and also to check through themselves. How much have they saved for themselves? How much have they saved? Because sometimes we may fear because of a spouse, but is it also a fear because I'm expecting him to help me and I don't have much that I've put? Do they have boundaries? Is it now they have been planning in their mind that now you're actually almost coming to a close of your career and it's going to be my payback? I'm afraid how I'm going to pay you back. Yeah, so all that. And then look at the resolve or all this. How long has this person taken to review and forgive themselves? Because even in this, they have responded, they have reacted. And so are they at peace with who they are, that they can stand? Or they're afraid of now when he's not going to work, I will have him 24 hours. And therefore I'm afraid I might do something or I might say something that is not healthy. And what is their backup and how do they take care of themselves? So there's a lot of layers of unfinished things that could end up even sucking the person who is afraid than the gosler. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. There are lots to deal with. Part of what I love to say is what we fear perseveres. All that we fear, it keeps bringing us down. And by the end of the day, we manifest. So we can also learn to focus our emotions on the positive. And that is part of how people pray. A big part of prayer is seeing what we want and visualizing them in that right manner. Now, just to in advance, I want to prepare Maurice Omondi. Maurice, you will give us a vote of thanks. I'll call you. Maurice also works with a pension-related organization, and so you will give us some summary and therefore give a vote of thanks. Now, before that, I want to call Odhiambo Lale to comment. His hand has been up, and then we will have Melvin. And then there is a question, I think, that has just come up. I don't know if it's a question, I'll check.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Rogers, that was a very good presentation. I would like to, I had 3 questions for you, but they're in the chat, so it's okay. What I'd like to share now at this level is that the issue of attitude is very, very important, as we already been told. At 49 years, I was given my early retirement. My attitude was right. Thanks to we had a Bible study group where a number of people were victims, so I was used to counsel them. So when my time came, it was so easy. I just told my employer when I was told time to retire. So I told the employer, I shocked them by telling them, hold your horses now that I'm on the list. Just let me, I have three things to tell you. Number one, thank you for 21 years of working here. Number two, please share this, use this policy for everybody. Don't wait for people, grown-ups, to come to work in the morning, then lunchtime you go and tell them you've been retrenched. Number three is, do you have an exit policy? You've been told there's an exit policy. Can you allow some of us as writers to write a report about our experiences? And that is also psychologically very important because it helps you release that stress and whatever. Other than that, now when I got a job somewhere else in the NGO. I worked until I didn't even realize that I'd even passed 60 years. I was now 63 years. Then I said, I gave up. I decided on my own that now I'm going to not retire. I don't like that word. I said, I'm going to wear new tires. And then I went into a passion, something that I realized that was my passion. I wrote a book. It took me 3 years. I wrote a book, and now I'm busy doing what? Selling and marketing the book. And I'm also using that opportunity to reach out to people who'd like to have their stories written. So in other words, attitude is everything. And then also the issue of saving and investment is very important. The moment one gets a job, you must know that that job is not yours forever, whether it's your own company or not. You must invest do some savings, retirement scheme, being the pension scheme and things of that nature. So my take in all this is that this is a very good program that we need to think about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Odiama is one of those people. I love his stories because his stories has always been inspiring. Yeah, how he took it positively, went re-engineered himself, and is even more excited, much busier, and things are doing well. Yeah, thank you very much. You are one of those people who should be sharing their stories. Yes, Dr. Melvin.
Yes, this has been a wonderful talk today.
Wait, you've not shared with us your you see what I'm saying?
Okay, if you insist. Yeah.
Yeah. It brings some honor.
I was saying that even though you might have planned your exit very well, and you have all your ducks in a row, and you're now financially and socially secure within your small nuclear family, there is the wider society that whom you never had a relationship with in the first place, but now you're forced to go into a relationship with those villagers whom you left back in the village, right? Who see you as a golden cash cow to be milked. So, in as much as you have got all your ducks in a row, I believe that there is a room for training. How do you manage new relationships with new people, with taxi drivers, for example, with repairmen, with contractors, and all the people that will be in your life when you've retired. Thank you so much.
I love that terminology, all your ducks in a row. Thank you very much. Now, it boils down, like you are saying, to training on financial management and all that, because people talk about even this, what we call black tax. So let's be people who are astute, and that's why we keep talking about personal development. You build yourself, you grow yourself. Flo is said it's a common thing to find a spouse who doesn't want to plan. Yeah, and this is causing families some break, some heartache. It's important that the couple goes through job separation, counseling, and deal with the fear. It's a reality. I know that finances is usually one of the top causes for families to have trouble. And so it's good as a family to plan, to talk about it, and see how best you can manage. Then there is a comment. I took a course as my retirement while I was working. My company downsized us, and I stepped out to my new career. That's fantastic. That's wonderful, Aaron. So we've learned some proven strategies, and I think this is very important. So we want to close it by calling Maurice. Maurice, you can come in and share a thought and also give a vote of thanks to our speaker, Maurice Omondi.
Okay, thank you so much. I think this has been an excellent topic. Our speakers, as the way they call it in the street, has murdered the topic. Yani, in a very short way, he has captured to demystify fear. I like that analogy of using a python, that you could be in a house and only those people who have seen the python end up being afraid, and those who didn't see it will not even be afraid. So I like that analogy that, you know, what you put in your mind is what you prepare for what comes, like the issue of attitude and the issue of investment and the issue of health and relationships, as Olale has said it. Because and he also gave that very good example of you know, you can retire, you have invested in everything, and then you find your family has moved on, and you find many other things have moved on. And then also the other example that you gave, that you know, you can, if you lose your job or if you die for that matter, it is only after about 2 weeks people will mourn you, and after that they will move on. And you know, the only people who will suffer is your family. So our speaker has really touched on so many things which are about life, not only about retirement, but basically about life in general. And I work for CPF Group Foundation. You can check us out in the internet. And there's also another organization which the CPF company is bringing up, called the Pension Club International. You can also find it. I'll give you the links, where we are basically encouraging people to prepare well for retirement. You don't have to prepare for retirement when you are at 60. You can prepare for retirement when you are at actually 20. And our speakers talked about the issue of investment. And there is usually, and I know that our speaker can speak about it next time. If our monthly expenditure at the moment is, let me just say, 50,000 shillings, even if you retire, the monthly expenditure is likely to be more or less the same. So if you are going to retire in the next 10 years, let me say you retire at 60, and you live another 30 years. So you should be asking yourself, for those 30 years, have I made plans which will enable me to earn 50,000 on average per month? So multiply 50 times 12 months times 30 years, and then see, is the investment that you have put in place going to keep you for 30 years, assuming that you live up to 80 or even 90. So I really want to thank you, our speaker, for bringing forward this topic. Many people, when they talk about retirement, some people think it's only that for old people. People are going to 60. But now everybody's talking about prepare early, so that you can have a fulfilling life. You don't have to rely on your children, because things have changed. Our children, if you ask our children right now about their thoughts, some of them are really struggling about their own education, their future. So you cannot have a guarantee that they will take care of us in retirement. So you have to think about it on your own and plan for it. So thank you so much, Power Monday, for bringing this very, very powerful speaker, very, very high-profile speaker, who has invested time. When we had the meet and greet the other time, I was sharing with the people who were there that if you were to value the cost which is being given for each of these power talks, it goes into millions by the end of the year. So we really appreciate that our speaker was able to come and give us insights, and he has shared his contacts. He has given just snippets, you know, like he said, he is just talking about top things like attitude. He talked about investment. He talked about health. These are things you don't think about when you are at 60. You think about them when you are still young. And you know, like our seniors, like Olale, when you meet with him, you will think that he's in his 45. When he tells you that he's past 60, you can't believe it. You think that is somebody who is just around 48. You know, like it is at that age. Studies have shown that people when they reach between 50 and 60 is actually at the apex of their careers. So when people like some countries like, I remember there was a time some minister was saying they want to lower the retirement age to 55. I was asking myself, how do you retire people when they are at the peak of their career? But nevertheless, it doesn't, if that happens, like Olale has also given in his own experience, it's not the end of life. Actually, you just transit from one situation to another one. The other thing which our speaker talked about is about discovering your passion, and that you can discover your passion at any age. And Paul Peter, I think you are the one who once told about the story of, is it the guy who started KFC? Yeah, the one who, I think it is in one of your books, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's
Where I think he discovered his passion at, is it at 70 or 80?
60 when he was retiring and
When he
rebuilt.
was retiring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So there is no, it's never late to find your passion and to do something new. So I just want to thank you, Paul Peter. I want to thank you so much, our speaker, and all the participants for participating in this talk. I'm sure you have been powered, and you're looking forward to a powerful week ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, somebody is asking about WhatsApp group. We have a WhatsApp group, and you just need to go to liveyourdream.co.ke/Power Monday, and you fill in that form, and then you will be added accordingly. I had put a link. I have put it again. All these sessions are also on YouTube. If you missed, if you came late, you can always go to Power Monday. You can always go to YouTube. The channel is youtube.com/@Power Monday, and you will always get them from the time we started. And they are very, very exciting topics, like Maurice has said. Next week, we are going to talk of a very interesting one, something about happiness. What is happiness and how do we attain it? Yes, and we have a happiness coach coming in. You do not want to miss that. Otherwise, we always use the same link. And we are happy to have you. If you are here for the first time, we will be happy to have you even next. And for us at Live Your Dream, we are happy to relate with you, to associate with you, and to come up with this program, because that is our passion, that you may live your dream. We provide training services, team building, sales training, personal finance management, business finance management, business development services, among other things. You can always get them from our website. Thank you very much, and have a blessed